Hello, everyone. I believe we are live now. So, welcome once again to Investing with the Difference. So, we are doing another live show. We are going to talk about the various apps, especially some of the critical landmarks, I think, around snapshots. We talked about, I think, we talked about Verbally, Trybe, and some other good applications. So, today we are going to quickly review what you need to do to get the maximum benefit out of those, as well as, of course, as usual, we will start with the some introductions and what all things we have for you already on our channel. So if I can remind you about our videos, I think we had done some updates. We had talked about market. We had also, I did an interview with Happy Money Man, so you can listen to that. And we have our BP focus series going on. So we started with episode 1 with EOS Authority, and there are a couple more coming up very soon this week. So please stay tuned for that. We are also starting a podcast. So I can see that some of these interviews are getting long, and I think some people don't have time to watch on YouTube. So we just posted link to our podcast on our Twitter. We will also share it on the YouTube videos soon. So this is right now, I think, not easy to find in iTunes or Google Play stores because it takes time to get approval on those particular channels. So very soon, I think you will be able to search. We are trying to host it at a better place. But I think if you're interested in podcast, do send us your comments if it helps in terms of how you listen to our content. Especially, I think as we go along and we are doing more and more series on the interviews with blog producers and so on, maybe it will be better for you to listen to them. Because that is the best format when you're driving or something else. So let's jump on directly to how the markets are doing. So as we remember, we had a huge fall right before the weekend, and we are trying to take support around the same region, which we always tell you there's a lot of buying happening in this area. So let me just close that. So if you remember, we did a lot of buying around this area, and similarly here around $6,100 to $6,300, and that's exactly where I think Bitcoin is again taking support. While the chart is not looking good, I think we are struggling very badly to cross this downtrend which has started a long time back, and also the 200 MOV average is really troubling us. But I think overall it is not, I think, too bad because we didn't really break down below this support area. So that sounds like a good sign. And what we are trying to look at here is the short positions. So if you see, this is a very long chart. I'm taking the short positions right from November timeline. And you can see that we are at an all-time high, very close to all-time high on short positions. So this means that shorts are going to be in trouble if this market starts going up. So as you can see, there's a support here, and some smart guys, they've cashed out. As you can see, there was a slight drop in the short positions, but still people are expecting it to go down. So I'm like a strong believer when you have so many people shorting and so many people are really not believing in it going up, and there is very easy like contrarian play here that Bitcoin can actually recover very fast, and we may actually see and if it happens, because there is a huge short position here, like if you saw it happen here, it also happened here. So if you look at the 3 months or 1 month, actually you will be able to see that how quickly the market moves up, and that is because the shorts start unraveling, and that's what may happen. What is happening in general? So why is overall market falling? So if you see, the Bitcoin dominance is now at 56% almost, which is very, very high. The reason is the altcoins are really struggling, and this Ethereum led fall, I would call it, because I have been highlighting this for a very long time, that Ethereum fundamentals are struggling right now. As we all know that it is facing issues when it is about scaling and so on. But let us talk about basic economics. Like Ethereum saw a lot of ICO raised money, and all that was locked into Ethereum, and that was creating a lot of demand. And as I highlighted one of the videos I did 3 months back, EOS had raised $4 billion, and all of that was in Ethereum. Now, right now what is happening is all the ICOs, they are struggling because the altcoins are not doing good, and that's why Ethereum is falling. So this is mostly Ethereum led fall. And of course, what other things which are struggling is Ripple. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So this is mostly Ethereum led fall. And of course, what other things which are struggling is Ripple. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. So if you see, they are all making new lows, and Ripple is also struggling. while we are able to sustain on EOS above $5, which is a good sign. I think this is already we are seeing relative performance of EOS is doing much better than, like, EOS is doing much better than all the other coins other than Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin is leading because it is considered a safe haven. It's the only currency or a cryptocurrency, you can call it, which is really has strong fundamentals and the best brand name and best recognition. So this is like, if you compare it in this with the stock market, this is the blue chip, and everything else is like a mid cap and small cap. So when you're talking about this, so Bitcoin will always be on the top. What we are seeing in this down move is that the Ethereum is losing its blue chip recognition, and you're seeing that it is going down much faster than everything else. And the good sign is, as I said, all these are making new lows. Ethereum, Ripple, and Bitcoin Cash, they have made new lows in this down move. While EOS, if you remember, we had gone all the way up to $4.50 or below. Right now, we're still holding above 5, which is a strong sign. I think if we can maintain this in the up move, this relative performance will definitely be seen because it's already outperforming rest of the altcoins. So this is my view. I think especially against Ethereum, you should always look at EOS versus Ethereum chart, and this is what we are seeing. It's Ethereum is really going down very fast versus EOS, and this is proof of that. So this, if you look closely, so this is a 1-day chart. So I'm showing you last 2 to 3 weeks how fast EOS is gaining over Ethereum, and that is something you need to notice. And that's where I think the real fundamentals come into picture of how EOS is doing in the market, rather than looking at the pure price which you are looking at, right? We came down below around $5, which is not great in absolute terms. But I think what is great is that market is clearly seeing potential of EOS against Ethereum, and that is what is very important. So what else is happening on EOS? So let's quickly have a look at what areas, the fundamentals of EOS. I think one thing which people talk about, RAM. The RAM prices have come down, and this is now I think below 1.11 EOS, which is great. I think already we did a video and explaining that there is a free RAM. So as I explained in the video, it was basically unlocking 1400 bytes for each account. So that helped because as Dan Larimer had promised that he will reduce the amount of RAM needed per account, that change has been implemented. So that gave you another 1400 bytes. And so now you can actually, when you're buying an account, you can only buy 3 kilobytes. And the system contract would automatically add about 1400 bytes to you. And that will be the minimum account, what you need. When I say 3 kilobytes, I'm sorry if I said something else. So 3 kilobytes means that you're only paying now 0.33 EOS, which is actually $1.50, which is pretty cheap. That's great. Another good sign is that CPU is getting better. I believe more and more people have been blocking block Twitter, grey listing them. So the block producers are really helping with this process of improving how the performance of the network is. We will talk about a few more things. I think we talked about EOS mechanics, which is helping benchmark each block producer on how their CPUs are performing, how fast they are able to respond to a transaction. And that is helping these block producers to debug what issues are. So a lot more tools are coming. I think it's a next stage of optimizing the network. And I think that's something which we need to look at and be pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the initiatives being taken by, I think, all the parties when it comes to block.one, when it comes to block producers. I think everybody is doing their job in the sense trying to make sure that the software is improving, trying to make sure the network is improving. And I think those are the kind of things which we need to focus on, and that is a great sign. Now let's come to the action items which we talked about. I think most of you have been highlighting the Trybe. So the good thing is so how do you measure the success of a project? So Trybe is a website which is publicly available, and as you can see that it is climbing the ranks. It is like, it's a pretty exciting project. I think they're trying to create a Steam kind of a model, but trying to improve on it. And you're seeing the global rank is also improving, not just the US rank. And this is pretty good, actually. This is for a very new site, it is very impressive. And I would say that you should all look at how you can get an account. They are doing this airdrop, which is very critical, because right now I think they are not giving it to everybody 1:1. So we explained to you earlier. So if you have not created an account, remember that there are multiple steps to it. One thing is you need to create an account. The second thing is you need to claim by doing an air grab, using either I think EOS toolkit allows you to air grab. And the third step is you need to register your account. Basically, you go to the Trybe profile and you have to enter your EOS account name into that, the same account name where you did the air grab. And that's how you are going to get double the tokens. Basically, that is the same amount of tokens which you have in your account tomorrow. You will get the same amount of tokens in your EOS account. And they're also doing a staking model. That's what I hear, the latest updates from them. So it's a lot of progress. I think a lot of people are doing innovative models of creating value. So Trybe is something everybody should make sure they have done the air grab, you have created an account, and you have linked your account to Trybe. The verbally, so there are some more details coming out. So this snapshot happened last week, and what we understand is they are going to allow you to create a new account. So remember, this is not EOS mainnet project. This is a sister chain. And what you need to do is, originally we were discussing on our Telegram channel whether you need to enter your email or not. So for the snapshot itself, you did not have to enter your email. But because it is a KYC compliant chain, and they're going to focus on applications which need every account holder to be complying to KYC standards, you do need to go through the KYC. And that's how you will be able to create accounts on verbally. So this is something which everybody has to understand. Right now, you don't have to do anything. You just have to wait for this network to be up and running. The snapshot is already taken. So they will give 1:1 airdrop. The account creation will be almost free because they are a new chain with an independent RAM, and there will not be anything. I think it will not be needed for you to buy RAM or so on. And the account names can also be different on verbally. So if you don't want to be associated with the same account, but remember your keys which you used last week when the snapshot happened on 7th September, the same keys will be needed to claim. So you will have to do some kind of a scatter based or verification of your account when you go to their site. And so this is something which you need to really understand and make sure that you do all the necessary steps, because verbally I think again is a pretty good project. I think they're making a lot of progress in bringing a different set of applications, and I'm sure some of these chains will do very well. Same thing for Telos. I think we're still waiting for the details. I believe they are using Genesis snapshots. There is nothing much to do on that, and I think but verbally has a lot more actions for you to really get this airdrops. Now let's have a quick review on the proxy items. I think I keep reminding you, please make sure that you are refreshing your votes. We still have 46,000 votes which are decayed. So try to go back to your wallets, to your EOS toolkits, whatever tools you're using to assign proxy, and please refresh your proxy. We are now becoming very sizable in terms of number of votes, and the number of people keep increasing. We have now 1,100 people together, and this is one of the reason I think we have taken more responsibility. We are bringing more and more block producers to you, introducing what these block producers are doing. In future, we will be doing a lot more in terms of hosting this webinars, events, and so on, because we need to really make sure that we are able to give you a platform where you can interact with block producers, you can hear them out. And because now I think we feel, even though the proxies don't get anything for getting assigned as a proxy, but we find this as our responsibility now, that we need to share more information with you to help you understand about these proxies more. So and by the way, if you are still not sure how to get more information, just go to EOS Aloha. You click on our link, you will see all our information channels, our website, our YouTube link, and our Twitter IDs, and the list of 30 block producers which we are voting for currently. And as we interact with more and more block producers, we keep refining this list, and those kind of things are still happening in the background. So again, remember, guys, so this is a voluntary exercise. I think most of the people who are working with me, they are working as a volunteer basis. And this is what we are trying to do our best. So please, I hope that you understand this. If you have questions, please feel free to send us on our websites and comments in YouTube and so on. Now, there's a question I see on YouTube right now, which says that how often to refresh proxy. I would say it is the same thing. So you have to refresh your proxy every week, just like the votes. They do not remain at full weight if you don't refresh them every week. But the ratio and the percentage of decay is not that significant for individual account when you do every week. So even if you do once a month, then you can really uh, control your decay. I think in a month or so, it accumulates 5 to 6% of decay, or even a little more. I think 6 to 7% of decay, and that's when it really starts making a big difference across the whole account. But individually, if you can do every week, that's great. If you can do once in 2 weeks, that's good. And if it is, but try to do it at least once a month. And remember, I'm still working on a plan. So as soon as the referendum system is in place, definitely we are going to pursue asking the community to abolish the proxy decay, because I think most of you have given this feedback in various forums who are really using proxy. So as you can see that we have 1100 people in our proxy, and I hear the feedback from many of you over either comments or some other places. And I think most of you agree that the impact of proxy is reducing if we let the proxy decay. So as you can anytime remove the proxy to us, or as you can anytime change the proxy to somebody else, there is really no need for proxy decay. So that is something we are going to propose to the community. We are not sure if it will be passed because it's a referendums. We don't know how those pans out. First of all, whether we will even be able to get this in the queue, because there are some bigger things are in place right now. I think from the referendum perspective, there are a lot of committees being formed. There is ECAF, there is a emergency committee, then there is worker proposal funds. So there are a lot of other important referendums which are in the line, and I'm sure they will try to figure out. I think community is trying to figure out how these referendums will be run, and that is something which is still not clear to us. So we will keep educating you on that, but I think my goal is to keep bringing these issues forward. And I think that's a great thing, because right now the way we are able to interact with this block producer, with the community members, I think because of the strength we have formed in this community, I think it's becoming easy for me to take these issues forward, and that's a great thing. I think we need to keep maintaining our strength in numbers and raise our voices, and please send us feedback. So because ultimately it's a community voice, so it doesn't matter what I feel about it. If all of you raise a voice about something, definitely we will make sure that this is heard, and it is brought in the right forum. So that's the goal we are going with this proxy. So let's, I think, now spend a little bit of time on dApps, as we always do. So again, as I said, like, our focus is always on looking at how the network is performing, how the apps are doing. And I think the apps are all running pretty well. I think we are seeing a lot of transactions. We are seeing, like, again, EOS bet is stopping in terms of number of transactions because a lot of people are still betting. The interesting thing is the DEOS games. This is another similar casino games, gambling game, and their dice game, they started with a token-based system. They just looking at the success of EOS bet, they also included EOS betting. That means you can bet EOS tokens, and they are gaining volumes steadily. Now they have done around $4,000 worth of volumes, and the good thing is that they are allowing 20-cent bets. So I would recommend you guys to not play with EOS bet with huge amounts. I heard stories about people losing a lot of their EOS. And EOS bet had to increase their minimum bet to one EOS, not $1. It's one EOS, which is almost $5 right now, and that can really suck you in, and you can lose a lot of money. So try DEOS games if you are really interested in just having fun with a little bit of EOS. We have posted a referral link in the video below, so that you can get bonus tokens. These guys are also doing airdrops, and just like bet token for EOS bet, DEOS is doing DEOS token airdrop. And by the way, if you were on Genesis account, you can also claim your EOS. So don't go to their site and claim your tokens as well. So do not forget that, because the way these gambling sites are going, you never know how these tokens will pan out. Maybe these tokens will become something useful if these gambling games keep the popularity. I don't know how long people are willing to engage with these apps, because ultimately the house edge will beat you. So some people have made a lot of money, I hear, but remember that you have to control how much you spend on it, and remember to control your bets. Do not get overboard with just pushing the button. One more thing is, I think we highlighted on our Twitter account, there was a fake app which had created a similar UI like EOS Bet, and we had shared that. I think EOS Node 1, one of the block producers, they had highlighted this and they were raising awareness about it to the community. So please make sure that you do not really get into that kind of a situation where you go to the fake app. And one way of doing that is, do not whitelist. So whenever you play these games, the scatter authentication pops up, and a lot of people, they just say that I approve, or like you whitelist an app. So remember, what you should do is, you should not whitelist any amount to be deducted from your account. If you're playing bet and you know that you're betting like one EOS or 0.2 EOS or whatever level you are playing, based on which game you're playing, make sure you're not clicking on whitelisting any amount, because that means a game can fool you when you whitelisted the app and scatter pop-up doesn't happen. So you need to always cross check with the scatter pop-up of what transaction is going out. So any app can implement a bad behavior, or they can have a bug, but scatter is your kind of a test. You need to always look at the scatter parameters. It's very easy to understand them once you really have a look at it, that what this parameters are going through, especially when you are betting the tokens. When you are actually sending EOS, you need to be very careful and watch out. So that is what my recommendation will be, based on you need to understand that always there are scams. While most of these apps are running fairly, they are trying to win customers because they are making a lot of revenues, but there are always there are enough number of scammers out there who try to make use of this and try to cheat you of your EOS. Be careful out there. As I said, anyway, I think gambling, it's dangerous, so be careful. And in terms of the exchanges, I think what I'm seeing is that SouthX, this is one of the exchange which is gaining a lot of ground versus the original decentralized exchanges which came in, the DEX, EOS, and new DEX. So do check out. These guys look very professional. It's a very clean site. They have a very good data also. For example, they also have RAM data, some other stuff, which is very interesting. So do check that out. And they are actually gaining a lot of customers in terms of the users, and the volumes are growing. So some exciting stuff here. I think the scatter itself, I think, is the biggest tool. And what I'm hearing is that scatter mobile is also into beta now. So I think that is something which will be something you can use right now. So I think this question I see on YouTube right now: do you trust the mobile EOS wallet? Right now, I don't trust most of the wallets because they have not gone through the rigorous security reviews. I trust the most, that is the NS James Scatter. And Scatter Mobile is now coming up very soon on Android, I believe, but it is again in beta. So don't really put your big accounts on that. Wait for the community feedback. And also, as we know that there is expected to be a mobile wallet from block.one, and it's the London hackathon is not far away. A lot of people are speculating that Dan Larimer will announce the wallet there, and that will be great, I think, because they have the resources and the expertise to make sure that they have built a secure wallet. And that is something which I would wait for on iOS, and for Android I would wait for Scatter mobile wallet and a mobile extension. And those are the two trustworthy sources who have a lot of experience, who have been doing pretty well in terms of the being developer of EOS, in terms of being the trustworthy sources. So these are the two I would say you should use for mobile. While I know that a lot of mobile wallets are coming, we get a lot of spam every day in our accounts to try out a new wallet. Do try them out. feel free. I think these are good resources. I'm not saying that these are all bad. What I'm saying is, do not trust with your big accounts where you have a lot of tokens. Do not import your keys there. You can maybe try out some test accounts which have less number of tokens, or you can create new accounts to use this mobile wallets. And let's wait for community feedback. Let's wait for enough stress testing of these before we start trusting our investments of EOS for long term. So this is a few areas I wanted to talk about. So guys, let's get to the questions. Whatever you guys have in your mind, let us shoot them on the YouTube. I'm waiting for your questions so that we can answer them. Overall, I think, as I said, I'm pretty happy with how the EOS is performing in a bear market. And I think all of us should just watch out for this, that we do not break down. And the interesting thing is we are getting a lots and lots of buying happening again in Bitcoin around this $6,100 to $6,300, which is forming a pretty good base now. But that also means it's become psychologically very important mark. If we go below 6,000 now, it will be very, very bad for the market. So watch out, be safe. And I hope that EOS keep outperforming. And with this $5 mark now, it is settling. If we can retain and not make new lows, I think that would really make a lot of difference. So I get a lot of questions on UBI. So guys, I think this is something which I do not think it is right now directly related to EOS. I know that Dan Larimer has been talking about UBI a lot. It is becoming his very important project for him. He's really spending a lot of time explaining what his ideas are on UBI. But I don't think it is that directly connected to EOS right now. I don't think it's happening anytime in near future. It's a great idea. I hope that somebody comes up with a plan. So as I was debating about UBI to somebody, right now what we are hearing and whatever I have seen, it is an ideal world of where you can give a basic income to everybody. Now the challenges are not in defining the ideal world. The challenges are in moving from the real world to the ideal world. And the transition is the most difficult. To define that, I have not seen anybody who has come out with a step. Even when Dan Larimer talks about it, I don't think he has defined a way of doing it. He's just trying to create a framework which may work. And he's very passionate about it. It looks like it is, but I don't think it is connected to EOS at this moment. EOS is still focused on bringing decentralized applications. It is in hands of community, and more I'm seeing it, I think we are seeing more and more development happening in EOS world, and that is what is important. We can always debate about UBI in another forum, but to be frank, I have nothing more to add in the EOS context right now. So what else, guys? So does Scatter have any easy Mozilla extension working now? So let me explain you. So have you looked at the Scatter desktop? So the latest Scatter desktop wallet, which is independent of any browser. So it's already, I have tested it with the Brave browser. I'm already using it with Chrome browser. And I did face some challenges using the Safari, but I think it should work with the Firefox or other browsers. So you can try Scatter desktop. So if you go to get Scatter, so let me just go there, get Scatter, and you can see that now there is a download Scatter desktop, and this is something you should try. Make sure you're at the right get Scatter site, get-scatter.com. Make sure you check the lock, make sure your connection is secure and your certificates are valid. So make sure you're downloading from the right place. And other than that, I would say you can try this Scatter desktop, and this is designed to work with any browser. It's not necessary to use the Chrome browser extension. So this is something I would recommend to people who are struggling with the Chrome browser and they don't want to use it. All right, so can I put my EOS on my Nano S and still use the Greymas wallet to vote? So if you put your EOS to Nano S, what will happen is you will get a new key. So the Ledger Nano will create a new key, which is stored inside the Ledger Nano. And that key you cannot put into Greymas right now. What I understand is Ledger Nano is support for Greymass is expected to be added. So what I hear from the Greymass team, they're looking to add support for it, so you can use the voting. But right now, I think there is another tool. So if you go to the Fairy wallet, so the Fairy wallet is that was released along with the Ledger Nano support, and you need to use Fairy wallet for voting, and they do allow you to vote. And I hope that I have not used it personally because I'm not planning to use Ledger Nano right now, but I believe they have the option to assign proxy and other things as well. But you can directly vote, as I believe I've heard that that Fairy wallet itself allows you. But when you are talking about Greymass wallet, unfortunately today you cannot use the Greymass wallet with Ledger Nano based EOS, because for Greymass setup right now you need to enter your private keys into Greymass, and they do not have support for using your Ledger Nano as an input for your keys. But as I said, most of these wallets will slowly start supporting that, because if you do not trust a PC, if you want to keep your keys in a Ledger Nano and not enter them on the PC, then I think that's something you should you can use your Ledger Nano for. So I hope that answered your question. Anything else, guys? So please feel free to go on and ask your questions. Where is the best place to store your EOS? Well, I think we have talked about wallets. We have talked about it depends on what you are currently using. If you are comfortable with Greymass, I am pretty comfortable with that. I'm using Greymass wallet. Then ultimately your EOS is stored in blockchain. You don't really store your EOS. What you need to protect and store is your key. There is a private key, which is your wallet key, and that you are entering either in Scatter, you're entering in Greymass, or you're using a Ledger Nano to store those keys. So the safest way, of course, is a hardware wallet. If you know how to use it, if you can make sure that you do not lose it and you know how to recover it. But other than that, I think if your PC is secure, as I've been telling you, Greymass is very simple. It's very easy to use, and it's been one of the best wallet. But of course, that means that you need to trust your PC security, your password for PC, and that will be your responsibility, because you cannot have a Greymass wallet which is secured by a actual password which you set for the wallet. And if that password is very easy to guess and somebody has access to your PC, then it doesn't matter how secure Greymass wallet is. Somebody can take your PC, guess the password, and just make a transfer of your tokens. So be careful out there. So it's almost like any other things which you keep secure, like your emails, like your other accounts, like bank accounts. Very similarly, you can use the Greymass wallet to keep your things secure. And I think, yeah, that's a good comment. Somebody said that stake them. So yeah, that is another thing. Always keep them staked. Use some email alerts. So you go to EOS Authority website. They have very good services. They have alerts you can set up. So if you unstake your token, if anybody unstakes your token, you get an alert. So you have 3 days to go back and make sure that you can save your tokens. And that is something which you need to really focus on. This is another tool which everybody should use. Please set up your alerts either using email, or there is a Telegram bot which they have implemented. So this is one of the most important tool of EOS. If you're not using an alert, please go to EOS Authority site and use this tool. And that is very important. All right, guys. So what else do you have? How do you restore Nano EOS if you don't see the private key? So I think if you have not used the hardware wallet, I would not recommend you to use Ledger Nano right now. First, you need to get used to using a hardware wallet. So how it works is hardware wallets are storing your key. They never show it to you. And they usually give you some seed phrases, which are some 15, 20, I don't know how many words, but they're depending on each wallet. They have certain number of words, which are normal common words, which you store somewhere safe. So just like storing your key, you have to keep your seed word safe, because anybody can recreate your wallet using that seed word. And that's one reason I'm not a great fan of that. Unless you can secure your seed words, your hardware wallet will also not be secure. So be careful out there right now, I think, because anyway you have kept for so long, for so many months since mainnet launch, if you have kept your private keys secure, Do not be in a hurry. Wait to understand things. Wait to for things to mature, because if your tokens are secure till now, that means your tokens are going to be secure for some more time, as long as you do not enter your private keys at various different places. So that's something which you need to really understand. What else, guys? So explain owner key versus active key. So basically, owner key and active key is a hierarchical level of support, which is EOS provides. So basically, owner key can change active key anytime. So what is recommended is you use your active key for interacting with the apps. So you can keep your owner key somewhere safe, and you can use your active key on making day-to-day account changes, to transact, to vote, to play games. Whatever you're doing, you should do it with your active keys. And changing the active key is very easy. You can put them, you can do that in Greymas wallet, you can do that on EOS toolkit, but make sure you do not touch your owner keys, because if you make a mistake in changing your owner keys, that means the ownership is lost. You can do it if you understand it, that changing the key will mean that now your new key will be able to control your accounts, and you should have the private key for that. So the only thing which you change is public key. You can generate keys offline. You can have a new pair of owner key using any of the tools. Like Greymas provides a tool to create a new key pair. There was used to be an old NS James had created a site, when you remember, when we used to before mainnet launch, there was a way to create keys. Scatter also allows you to create a key pair. So there are a lot of ways to create a new key pair. So once you create a new key pair, now the private key has to be stored very safely, and then the public key has to be updated. And that's how you do changing the owner key or active key. And I strongly recommend you to take some experts help if you're changing your owner key. Changing active key is something you can try out, because that you can change anytime again. So what else? I see some other questions. For example, I have 1000 EOS. I want to sell 300 to fund my need this year. How is that possible? So right now, selling and getting fiat currency like dollars or something, you will have to send them to some exchange. That is the only way you can do it. But I think more and more uh, decentralized exchanges are coming. They're integrating some ways of selling in fiat currency. So hopefully that will also be possible in near future. Just today, I think the big news is the Gemini exchange has announced their own Gemini dollar, which is a big thing, because Gemini is one of the few exchanges which have been operating under regulations. They are very well protected. They do their US dollar deposits are FDIC insured. That is the same level of security which banks get. And now they have announced a regulated stable currency. That means they will prove that they have the same amount of US dollars what they are creating in a token, which is the Gemini USD, like Tether. And I think that is another great sign for overall crypto market. I think that will really help bring more and more institutional money into it, because they will be able to trade in and out of Bitcoin or other cryptos without making it without trading it back into fiat currency. So these are some of the great things happening. So hopefully things will mature, and you will be able to really make these transactions easily. Then how can you buy more EOS? I think again you can buy more EOS on any of these exchanges. Binance I allows it. I think it's the biggest exchange. Bitfinex and other exchanges if you have account. So you should create an account. We do have a referral link for Binance, and you need to you can use that, which will help you create an account on Binance and buy them. Then what else, guys? How can you buy more? Okay, this is already done. Will the EOS hackathon with Dan be streamed? I don't think there is any live streams of hackathon which happen, because hackathons are not really a lot of active work, right? Means it's mostly the teams participating, they're getting help, and they're actually coding. There's nothing exciting to watch, unless I think usually they record the final presentations from shortlisted candidates. Usually I see them on YouTube. I'll try to find them once it happens, or any major announcements. I don't think the whole hackathon is ever telecasted, or it makes any sense to do that. How do I add an owner key to my existing key pair without generating a new key pair? I do not understand your question because you cannot add, you can only change the owner key. It doesn't make sense to add another key pair because there's only one owner key. If you're talking about adding a key pair for an active key, then you have to generate a new key pair. Otherwise, what key, if you're trying to change a key, you need to have the new key. Otherwise, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. What else, guys? So I think that we have handled most of the questions on YouTube right now. So please feel free to ask more questions. I will spend another 5 minutes and we will wrap up. So again, as I said, just a reminder, please take action on these airdrops. Make sure that you have done your Trybe and verbally claim. I think verbally you don't have to do anything right now, but you need to definitely, whenever they send you more details, you need to do your KYC. For Trybe, you need to make sure you do airgrab, you register your account and update your profile with your EOS account. And I think that's it. I think overall it's progressing. If you're interested in any of these activities, like if you're a dApp developer, if anything you're doing on EOS later on, it's a good price for RAM. I think everybody should buy a little bit of RAM, especially if you are interested in developing apps later on. You should slowly buy, I would say, a little bit of RAM because that is what I realized. You do need RAM to make any apps. And of course, as more and more air grabs come in, you will definitely need more than minimum. So especially if you only bought 3K or 4K RAM originally when you created your account, if you're new, means all the Genesis snapshot, you got 8 kilobytes of RAM. But if you are new account, you could have created with 3 or 4. I would say that you should buy a few bytes more, a few kilobyte more. That will help you make these transactions to air grab and own your own tokens. So I have see some other questions. Can I use any programming language? Yes, I think EOS allows a lot of programming language. So it's you can actually use EOS.js and you can program your app all in JavaScript. Okay, I'm seeing some more questions coming up. What amount of RAM would you recommend? I would say everybody should at least own 10 kilobyte of RAM in their accounts. And at current price, if you're okay, I don't mind if you have up to 16 kilobyte. So that's what I recommend. And that will keep you future proof for any things which you're doing in future, for basic operations, for air grabbing, for many of the apps which will try to use your RAM. But if you're developing apps, if you are interested in becoming a developer or doing something on EOS, you may need maybe at least 300, 500 kilobyte of RAM. So that will be almost like $100 to $200 worth of RAM at the current prices. So that's what I would recommend. All right, guys. So I think I will wrap up now. So it's thanks for very interesting questions. Overall, I think we are pretty excited the way things are moving. The apps are really getting a lot of engagement, and the market, of course, is not looking good. So be safe and do not try to be very a kind of innovative with your investments, especially the gambling sites. Just make sure that you're not losing there while you have held on to your EOS for such a long time. So be very, very safe out there, but have fun. I think it's really a lot of great activity happening in EOS world, and I'm sure I'm going to expect more and more apps coming in. And I'm myself involved in a couple of apps and helping some of the teams, and definitely I think more and more interesting stuff is going to come up on EOS in next 3 to 6 months. So just keep yourself hooked on to all the news, understand how things are going, and make sure that you are not getting sucked into these either scam sites or these gambling sites and losing your EOS. So that's the only thing which I would keep reminding you. And keep looking at our referral links for anything which you are interacting with the apps, because that helps you get a bonus, we get the bonus, and we really have it helps us as a team to keep raising funds for the things we are trying to do. So, and please watch out for more stuff. We are going to do more and more events. And as I said, we are still open to helping you with the meetups. Do reach out to us if you are interested in doing some local meetups, and that is something that we really recommend. We need to create more ground up communities. If I look back at proxies, I'm not really excited about other proxies. Many of them are block producer run proxies. We need more and more proxies like Investing with a Difference. We don't want to be the single proxy here with a single kind of objective. We need more and more proxies who are chasing a particular philosophy, and which is ground up community based proxies, and go and talk to people, get more people excited. And that's what community based projects are all about. And that's how you bring real revolutions like what blockchain promised us. I think EOS is giving that promise better technical tools, and we can really make it happen. And that is how it will really work out. So thanks a lot. Please keep sharing our videos, liking it, and do send us your feedback on how we can do better. So thanks once again. Bye for now. See you next time.